But he's changed. Devin's changed. Because Devin's fallen out of love with the sport of boxing because of what happened with Ryan Garcia and other as well. And I think it made Devin fall out of love with the sport of boxing. And I think now a big part of Devin's just fighting for money. And that's when it becomes dangerous because you're not the same fighter.
Is Brian Norman about money?
No, not yet. And that's why that fight is very dangerous.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego Unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live.
I say, bad news for Devin Haney and the Haneyacks. Eddie Hearn, a promoter who has worked with Devin Haney, he says that Devin Haney is in a dangerous fight with Brian Norman Jr. He also says that he believes that Devin Haney is no longer in love with the sport of boxing. Wow. In this video, leave it to me, the best in the business, and it's not even close, to break it down. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Bad news for Devin Haney and the Haneyacks. In this video, I will break down why I feel that, because at the end of the day, you have a promoter who worked with Devin Haney, and this promoter, Eddie Hearn, is saying that Devin Haney fell out of love with the sport of boxing, and he explains why. So he's someone who knows Devin Haney, and this is not what you want to really hear ahead of a dangerous fight, which Eddie Hearn says is a dangerous fight. So I got my trusted headphones on. We will listen to it. You guys buckle up. Buckle up.
Lamont Roach will just be thinking, I want to beat Gervonta, become a two-time world champion, two-division world champion. That's important to me. I don't know Lamont Roach, but I get the feeling he's from that same school. Shakur and like these guys, they care about belts. They care about legacy.
Devin's the same as well.
Yeah, he is. But he's changed. Devin's changed.
So right there, you notice that the host, he said Devin's the same way. Eddie was talking about other people, like Shakur and Lamont Roach said they're hungry. He didn't mention Devin's name, but the interviewer mentioned Devin. And then he said, yeah, Devin as well, but Devin's changed. Listen again.
He is. They care about belts. They care about legacy.
Devin's the same as well.
Yeah, he is. But he's changed. Devin's changed. Because Devin's fallen out of love with the sport of boxing. Because
boom. Devin is fallen out of love with the sport of boxing.
But he's changed. Devin's changed. Because Devin's fallen out of love with the sport of boxing because of what happened with Ryan Garcia and other bullshit as well, you see? So Devin, when he started, all he wanted to do was chase greatness. I don't think he's like that anymore.
Do you blame him though?
No, I mean...
When Devin first started, all he wanted to do was chase greatness, but he's not like that anymore.
In a Ryan Garcia fight. But it wasn't just what happened to him, it was people's responses. Like, he became the villain in a fight where he got bashed up by a guy that had performance-enhancing drugs in his system. And that should never have been that way. And I think it made Devin fall out of love with the sport of boxing. And I think now a big part of Devin's just fighting for money. And that's when it becomes dangerous because you're not the same fighter.
Is Brian Norman about money?
No, not yet. And that's why that fight is very dangerous. And there's a very good chance Devin Haney could lose that fight.
Do you like that?
Eddie is cooking. Listen, I give credit where credit's due, and he's being a straight shooter, telling his honest opinion. Now, it's been a minute for this where Eddie Hearn has just been speaking his truth on Devin Haney. I don't know if the relationship is fractured, because remember there was an argument at the Anthony Joshua Meet With Me is my Daniel Dubois fight where Devin Haney tried to press Eddie Hearn over tickets, called him a fake, said he's like the fakest ninja he knows, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Maybe Eddie Hearn's like, all right, bet. That's how you really feel, and never got over it. But for whatever reason, Eddie Hearn's been more candid. He did an interview with Andre Ward, and he was very similar tone to the Ryan Garcia fight. Now he is breaking shocking information from his perspective, saying Devin is in it for money, lost the love and passion for the sport, and now the Brian Norman fight is very dangerous. He said he doesn't believe Brian Norman Jr. is in it for the money, not yet. He's like still young and hungry in his career, so it's not just about the money. And he's like, if you are in it for the money, that's where it gets dangerous.
And that should never have been that way. And I think it made Devin fall out of love with the sport of boxing. And I think now a big part of Devin's just fighting for money. And that's when it becomes dangerous, because you're not the same fighter.
Is Brian Norman about money?
No, not yet. And that's why that fight is very dangerous. And there's a very good chance Devin Haney could lose that fight.
Do you like that fight?
Not for Devin. But you see now, Nuna, what's happened is Bill and Devin, they're not looking strategically. They're looking for the bag. That's it. Right? So they're like, where can we make our 5, 6, 7 million? What fight? That's why they said, we'll fight Boots at 147. We're like, well, we're going up, but we'll fight you at 150. Oh, all right, we'll fight Teofimo. We'll fight Brian Norman. Well, because they just wanted the money.
This was happening in New York when we were there, remember?
Yeah, but they just want the money. So they don't care now. Like back in the day, Bill was a lot more selective and tactical about who to fight. Now he just wants the money, which shows me, by the way, there's still a good fight. I mean, also, it's not just the money. If he beats Brian Norman, he becomes a 3-division world champion, which is a great achievement. But there's definitely, in my opinion now, the Haneys are looking at the situation and looking at money, rather than legacy. They still care, but not in the same way.
You've
Talk to him, Eddie Hearn. So I'm going to say it. This is a terrible look for Devin Haney, because you are in there with Brian Norman, who, in Eddie Hearn's opinion, right, he's coming to win, and he's not at the stage where he's money motivated, right? He's motivated by trying to prove himself, and he's still like in the gunna stage, right? And on the flip side of that, so the Normans are hungry, and the man's in shape. I've already made videos about it. The man stay in shape. He's hungry. He's a champion. Him and his dad is a great coach and a former fighter. They have a good duo going. You know, in terms of cornering advice, I've heard better cornering from Brian Norman than I have ever heard from Bill Haney, right? And Bill Haney is not a former fighter, whereas Brian Norman's dad is, right? So you got a hungry, something to prove kid from Atlanta with power, with momentum, with a belt. And then you have somebody who worked with Devin Haney and the Haneys for a while, right? In Eddie Hearn. And he said, I believe that he fell out of love because of how he was treated from the Ryan Garcia fight, everything that transpired from the Ryan Garcia fight. And now him and his dad are in it for the money. And before they would like pick the fights, like career building fights, and they were more selective. Now they're just like money over legacy. Let's just try to reach for the biggest bag. That is not something you want to hear for a fighter of Devin's age, right? They said he was the next Mayweather and all this type of stuff, but you don't want to hear that from somebody who knows Devin, that he's out here chasing a bag. You know what I mean? And another reason it looks dumb, and just know you're only going to get this content right here from Boxing Ego. The Haney content creators, you know, they don't talk about anything negative that's Bill Haney or Devin Haney for whatever reason. But I keep it real based on what's out. This is a new interview from Eddie Hearn. Haneyx won't tell you about it, but on my channel where we cover everything boxing, I will talk about it. There's a lot of low quality content in the space of boxing where people, you know, pick sides and don't want to give you the full spectrum of what's going on in boxing. Over here, we do things a little different. I'm from the Bay where we dance a little different. Yay! So this don't look good for Devin Haney. I'm just going to tell you. You're in there with somebody who definitely can hurt you, and your former promoter. Keep in mind, when Devin, after them fights in Mexico and a couple fights on Showtime, when he turned pro and signed with a promoter, his first promoter that he worked with was Eddie Hearn. So let's not get that confused. The first major promoter that you started working with on a multi-fight basis was Eddie Hearn. Now, the other thing I do not respect about how the Haneys move, when Boxing Ego say certain things, they'll get mad, or content creators. Eddie Hearn says it. Why don't they ever cuss out Eddie Hearn? Why don't they ever like throw jabs at Eddie Hearn? Like, Eddie Hearn, you POS. How could you say that? You a traitor. You a backstab. They never really do that. Now, if they do this after I called them out, then that's what it is. But I'm talking about to this point. They don't really go in on Eddie Hearn, and he's saying much of what I've said. And I told you, Devin Haney has changed over the years from my impression and from people I know that know him, you know, got kind of money-oriented, entourage got bigger, got big-headed. And in the Ryan Garcia fight, you see him on the ground looking like he's doing push-ups. And the Ryan Garcia fight really, truly set him back. And now you got people like Eddie Hearn, who is out here telling you, this man, him and his dad are in it for the money, and I don't see that as being a good thing. And if you listen closely, don't take my word for it, rewind this track, picture me rolling. Eddie Hearn in that interview, what he just said is that the host, the interviewer says, do you like the Brian Norman fight? And he said, not for Devin. So Eddie's telling you full on that they stopped being selective. That's why now they're willing to fight Boots or dangerous fights with Brian Norman and less strategic career moving, right? Because they're looking for a bag. And he said a bag of 5 to 7 million. Another problem with that. So Eddie Hearn told you he don't like the fight. He don't like the fight for Devin Haney. So he already told you it's a dangerous fight. So that tells you everything you need to know. But beyond that, why would Devin be chasing a bag of 5 to 7 million? And this is someone who's dealt with Devin, knows his career, put on the Regis Prograis fight, right? Was called in for the Ryan Garcia fight as an additional set of eyes, even though Devin's team made a ton of mistakes, letting Ryan miss weight, keeping the fight going, then taking less payoff money than they shook hands at the press conference. They made a ton of mistakes. And then it cost them career-wise, because ever since that moment, Devin's brand has been right? And now the same person. So it's funny when Boxing Ego says this, you say I'm a hater, blah, blah, blah. Eddie Hearn worked with this man. He worked with this team, and he's saying the same thing. So I got to be great. I got to be great. The best in the business, and it's not even close. So this doesn't look good at all to me from what we're hearing from Eddie Hearn. It just looks like a person who kind of lost their passion and lost their way and feel like dejected from the Ryan Garcia fight. And you got to get over that. If you want to continue fighting, you got to get over that. So I don't really like hearing this for somebody going into a big fight that you're in it for money. You know what I mean? Of course, you're a prize fighter. You want to make a prize dummy, like Floyd said. But you better be in it for some other stuff fighting Brian Norman. And I don't like the Norman fight. Okay. Let me rephrase that. I like the Norman fight as a boxing fan. I think it's a good fight, and I'm going to watch the fight. But I don't like the Norman fight progressively for Devin's career because it is very high risk, low reward. Yes, you're going to make some cool money, but if you lose, that might be the last like big bag you get for quite some time. Your profile has done nothing but take hits since the Ryan Garcia fight. And not all because of Ryan, because we know Ryan popped dirty and whatnot. People already felt a little type of way because of Lomachenko fight and felt like you didn't get that. But then when Ryan did what he did with you, then you start getting clowned. You start fighting people at the circus, at the carnival, wherever, the county fair. You had this tape leak of your baby mama. You got her pregnant, and this Young Thug tape came out, and everyone started judging that situation like she's a former Taz Angel. That's Young Thug's baby, and she loves him and all this stuff, right? Now she got a restraining order. You're suing her for emotional distress and defamation and extortion. It's just ugly. So for me, the Haneyacks ain't gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you, I don't like this. This spells trouble because boxing's hard enough as is, and only certain fighters like Floyd Mayweather have truly been great multiple times, compartmentalizing personal life, grief, heartbreak. Like Mayweather, he was with Miss Jackson, and Miss Jackson broke up with him and started suing him, and all their business went public with this lawsuit right before the Maidana fight. That's hard. That's hard. These are people. They're boxers, but they're still humans. You dig? So that's hard to like deal with. And we seen there was a lot of pressure on Devin Haney versus Ramirez. And in my opinion, Devin, he didn't look like the same formidable Devin that fought Regis Prograis. If you watch the Regis Prograis and look at the confidence from Devin, and then you watch Ramirez, who most people thought was not in his prime, not necessarily as dangerous as Regis Prograis, you see a stark contrast in how Devin fought. So now you're at even more pressure because your bodyguard got in a fight with Brian Norman. He's more fresh. He's not washed. He's in the prime of his career. He's a champion. Is at the full welterweight. It does look like you were kind of forced into this position. In order to get a big bag with Turkey, you got to fight Turkey's style of fights. He don't want no Tom and Jerry fight, which is harder for fighters like Devin Haney with minimal power. And it's just a dangerous fight. Now, there is a path to victory for Devin to win, but I still think it's a very, very dangerous fight. Devin's going to have to box and box intelligently and box smart and exploit things that we haven't all the way seen exploited from Brian Norman. So I agree with Eddie Hearn. Super dangerous fight. And boxing really is not the sport if you're only in it for money. You know what I mean? It's not the sport for you, because money is like, if you do good at your job, the money will come. You got to do the road work and run 8-10 miles and stuff. You got to find other things that motivate you other than the almighty dollar. So you better hope that what Eddie Hearn is saying ain't true with Devin Haney, because this could be real rough in November. For more boxing news, like videos like this, intelligent, eloquent, real breakdowns, subscribe to my channel and check out some of my other videos. I'm always going to keep it real. I came in the game that way. I'm still here. Shout out to all the support. A lot of people sent cash apps, link in the description, super chat, super thanks, all these things to motivate the channel. I'm one person. We're putting out fire content on the daily. Subscribe. Let me know what you think of Devin Haney possibly losing that fire and, you know, being like, F the fans, F that. I kind of want money. You know what I mean? And the other thing, last thing I'll say is, remember Devin Haney when he fought Ryan Garcia, and this was before it became public that Ryan Garcia had popped dirty with the Osterine. There was this weird report, right, that came out in a graphic that came out, and it said that Ryan made 50 million and Devin made 35 million, right? This is the graphic I'm showing you. This came out and Devin Haney posted a snarky comment because everyone was making fun of him at this point because we didn't know Ryan had popped dirty, and people were just like, man, Ryan beat you up. And it was initially a loss. Devin says, quote, "If you think I made 35 million, think again and think bigger. Big. Too Short's favorite word." So you're claiming you made 35 million, which I said was cap back then, right? You're talking about think bigger. You're saying you made over 35 million. But then Oscar De La Hoya came out and put it on blast and said, these guys are mad because they didn't sell and they're saying I owe them money. Why aren't you suing Golden Boy if Ryan and Devin said they thought they should have made more money? We haven't heard nothing about Golden Boy being audited. Oscar De La Hoya said, come audit my company if you think we didn't pay you everything we owe you. You just didn't sell. Devin Haney can't sell. Ryan was acting like a tweak and Devin can't sell. So the fight did what it did, and we already paid you out what we needed to pay you out. So what happened to, you think I made 35 million? Think bigger, right? Then they said Devin Haney, I showed you Devin Haney was listing his house in Las Vegas, his mansion. And then now Eddie Hearn is saying he's fighting for the money, and Eddie knows numbers because he's a promoter. So he sees he's promoted Devin Haney. He knows how much Devin made versus Regis Prograis, probably how much he made around for the Ryan Garcia fight because he was involved in both of those fights. He just did in this interview, I played it for you at the beginning of this video. He said that Devin Haney and his dad are less strategic and they're all about the money and they're trying to get $5 to $8 million. You know what I mean? They're just looking for the bag. So $5 to $8 million, that's a far cry from you saying you made over $35 million to fight Ryan Garcia. So you're taking the more dangerous fight or equally dangerous in Brian Norman for $5 to $8 million. And if you lose, it's going to be bad. And then beyond that, Ryan just did a recent interview and he said he made like 30, 40 million to fight Tank. So what happened to, if you think I made 35 million, think bigger. So you mean to tell me Tank and Ryan sold 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. This fight didn't. This fight didn't beat Tank versus Rolly at the Barclays Center. And then Devin was saying that he made more than 35 million. But now Eddie Hearn says you're fighting for 5 to 8 million and you're chasing the bag. And Ryan saying he made around this to fight Tank, a fight that did over $1 million. This ain't adding up. How did Ryan do a fight that did over $1 million and he said he made $30 to $50 million and Devin claimed that he made more than 35 million for Ryan, but then later said Golden Boy didn't pay him out his money. So the Haneys continue to look crazy, in my opinion, by putting out propaganda. And then now, like I said, Eddie Hearn says you're trying to chase the bag and take these fights for 5 to 8 million and you lost the passion or lost the love for the sport of boxing. We unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.